One, say no without guilt. If you're always saying yes, people, including women, will start to take you for granted. A man who agrees to everything just to please others eventually loses his identity. That's why learning to say no confidently without guilt is a key to earning genuine respect. When you say no without over-explaining or feeling bad, you're sending a strong message. I have boundaries, and I respect myself. That kind of self-respect is magnetic. It shows you're not afraid of losing someone by being honest about your limits. Sometimes you'll be tempted to say yes just to avoid conflict or to keep someone happy, especially someone you care about. But remember, your time, energy, and peace of mind are valuable. If you keep giving in to everything, you'll end up drained and unappreciated. Women naturally respect men who can stand firm on their decisions. When she sees that you don't fold under pressure or guilt, she knows you're emotionally mature and grounded. That kind of strength builds deep respect and attraction. Saying no doesn't mean you're being rude or selfish. It means you're clear about your priorities. It's a sign of leadership, confidence, and self-awareness. Always remember, saying no when necessary is not rejection, it's self-respect. And the more you respect yourself, the more others, including women, will respect you too. Don't always be available. One of the biggest mistakes men make in relationships is always being available. Whether it's replying instantly to every message, canceling your plans to meet her, or dropping everything the moment she calls, it may seem like loyalty, but over time, it actually reduces her respect for you. Why? Because value comes from rarity. When you're constantly available, it sends a silent message. I have nothing more important going on. And that can slowly make you seem less exciting, less challenging, and unfortunately, less attractive. Healthy boundaries mean making your time matter. That doesn't mean you should ignore or avoid her, but it does mean you should continue living your life fully. Stay focused on your goals, your passions, your fitness, your work, your circle. When she sees that you have a purpose and direction outside the relationship, her respect for you grows. Being unavailable sometimes creates a healthy space. That space gives her a chance to miss you, to appreciate your presence more when you are around. It keeps the dynamic balanced and prevents you from falling into the always there, always waiting role. Remember, you don't have to be constantly present to be meaningful. Show her that while you care, your world doesn't revolve entirely around her. That's not arrogance, it's strength. And strength earns lasting respect. 3. Set limits on disrespect. Respect begins with how you allow others to treat you. If someone crosses a line and you stay silent, that silence sends a message. This behavior is acceptable. That's why one of the most powerful boundaries you can set with any woman or anyone is a clear limit on disrespect. Disrespect can show up in many forms: sarcasm that goes too far, dismissive comments, emotional outbursts, or even being constantly interrupted or ignored. At first, you might let it slide, thinking it's small or not worth mentioning. But over time, these moments stack up, and they shape the entire tone of the relationship. Setting limits doesn't mean yelling or reacting emotionally. It means calmly and clearly saying, I don't accept being spoken to that way, or simply walking away when someone refuses to respect your boundaries. You don't have to argue, your actions will speak louder. When a woman sees that you hold yourself to a standard and expect the same from her, she will either step up or step away. Either result is a win because your peace of mind and self-worth stay intact. The truth is, people treat you based on what you allow. If you tolerate disrespect once, it opens the door for it to happen again. But when you stand firm, respectfully, and consistently, you earn lasting respect. Strong boundaries attract strong relationships. Set the tone early, and she will either rise to meet your standards or reveal she never could. 4. Never chase, lead instead. One of the most powerful things a man can do is stop chasing and start leading. Chasing comes from a place of neediness. It's the energy of trying to prove your worth or constantly seeking approval. Leadership, on the other hand, comes from self-confidence. It says, I know who I am, and I move with purpose. When you chase someone calling too much, texting nonstop, trying too hard to impress you, unintentionally shift the balance. It makes the other person feel like they're in control, and you're just hoping for their attention. This doesn't create respect, it creates pressure, or worse, disinterest. But when you lead by focusing on your path, making clear decisions, and inviting her into your world, you become someone worth following. You show that your life has direction, that your time is valuable, and that being with you is a choice, not a constant performance. Women are naturally drawn to men who are grounded, who have vision, and who don't base their worth on external validation. Leading isn't about control, it's about confidence. It's the ability to walk forward with or without someone by your side. The key is this: a man who leads doesn't need to chase because his presence is enough. And when you show that your life is full with or without a relationship, she'll respect you more, not less. 5. Make time for your purpose. One of the biggest reasons women respect certain men deeply is because those men are driven by purpose. They're not just living day to day, they have direction. Whether it's a career goal, a personal mission, or a passion project, they're building something meaningful, and that makes them stand out. When you prioritize your purpose, you show that your identity doesn't revolve around a relationship. You're not available 24/7 because you're focused on growth. This doesn't push people away, it actually draws the right kind of attention. Why? Because people admire those who are going somewhere. Purpose creates discipline. It sharpens your mind, strengthens your confidence, and keeps your emotions balanced. When challenges happen in your personal life, your purpose keeps you grounded. You're less likely to get lost in confusion or emotional ups and downs because you have a bigger mission to fulfill. Women notice this. A man who is committed to something beyond just his feelings is seen as strong, stable, and deeply attractive. It shows maturity and leadership. That doesn't mean ignoring your relationship. It means not losing yourself in it. The right person will support your ambition, not compete with it. So protect your purpose. Schedule your time. Build your vision. And remember, your purpose is what makes you magnetic. When you live with intention, you don't have to demand respect, it naturally follows you. 6. Avoid explaining yourself too much. One subtle but powerful way to lose respect in any relationship is by over-explaining yourself. Many men fall into this habit, constantly justifying their choices, defending every decision, or trying to make sure the other person understands everything. While communication is important, over-explaining signals insecurity. When you feel the need to explain yourself over and over, it shows that you're seeking approval. It says, I want you to be okay with what I'm doing, instead of simply standing by your choices. Confident people don't over-explain, they state their decision clearly and move forward. This doesn't mean you should be cold or mysterious. It means learning to speak with calm certainty. For example, if you've made a choice that's right for you, like focusing on your work, spending time alone, or saying no to something, there's no need to give a long explanation. A simple, respectful response is enough. When you speak with fewer words but more clarity, you come across as self-assured. It tells others, especially women, that you trust yourself, and that trust is attractive. It builds respect because it shows you're not dependent on someone else's validation. Remember, your confidence is in your tone, not your words. You don't have to defend everything. Stand firm, be kind, and trust that your presence says more than your explanations ever will. 7. Demand honesty, and openness. Every strong relationship is built on one foundation: honesty. If you allow secrecy, half-truths, or emotional games early on, you're setting a dangerous tone for the future. That's why one of the most powerful boundaries you can set is this: you expect honesty and open communication, always. This doesn't mean being harsh or confrontational. It means calmly making it clear that truth matters to you more than temporary comfort. A healthy relationship needs two people who can speak their truth even when it's uncomfortable. Without that, trust breaks down and respect fades with it. When you ignore red flags like vague answers, hidden conversations, or emotional avoidance, you're teaching the other person that honesty isn't required. And once that line is crossed, it's hard to go back. By demanding openness, you also give it. You create a space where both of you can be real, where there's no need to guess or assume. And the right person will appreciate that standard, not run from it. It's not about being suspicious or controlling. It's about protecting your peace and building something real. If someone is honest with you, you know where you stand. If they're not, it's better to know early than be confused later. So set the boundary. Say, I value honesty above everything else. If she respects you, she'll rise to meet that. If not, she'll reveal it, and that, too, is a gift. 8. Protect your emotional energy. Your emotional energy is one of your most valuable resources. If you give it away too freely or let others constantly drain it, you'll feel exhausted, confused, and off balance. That's why strong men set a clear boundary. They protect their peace. Relationships can be beautiful, but they can also be emotionally demanding. If you're always absorbing someone else's stress, mood swings, or emotional ups and downs, you're putting your own stability at risk. Over time, this emotional overload can cloud your judgment and weaken your sense of self. It's important to support the people you care about, but there's a difference between being supportive and being emotionally overwhelmed. When someone repeatedly brings chaos or drama into your life, it's okay to step back. It's okay to say, I'm here for you, but I also need space to take care of myself. You don't have to attend every argument. You don't have to respond to every emotional reaction. Sometimes, the most respectful thing you can do for yourself and the other person is to remain calm and walk away when things get too intense. Women respect men who know how to stay grounded. When you protect your emotional energy, you show strength, maturity, and self-awareness. You're not cold, you're clear. You don't reject people, you just refuse to lose yourself in emotional storms. Protect your peace. It's not selfish, it's necessary. 9. Control physical intimacy. Teaming in today's fast-paced world, many people rush into physical closeness without truly building emotional connection or trust. But a high-value man doesn't move too fast, he sets the pace. That's why one powerful boundary is to be intentional about when and how you build physical intimacy. When you rush into things, you risk sending the message that you're only interested in the surface level. But when you take your time, when you build emotional connection first, it shows you value more than just the moment. It shows depth, patience, and self-control. Setting this boundary means you don't let pressure, expectation, or temptation guide you. You move when it feels right, when both people are emotionally aligned. That makes the experience far more meaningful and it builds real respect. It also communicates something powerful. You are not desperate, and you are in control of your choices. Women respect men who are intentional, who don't just react, but decide. It makes you stand out in a world where many chase quick attention over long-term connection. There's nothing weak about waiting. In fact, it shows incredible strength. It shows that you're not led by impulse, but by purpose. And that kind of discipline is rare and highly respected. So take your time. Build trust. Let the connection grow naturally, because when intimacy comes from understanding, not urgency, it lasts longer, and it means more. 10. Set communication standards. Communication is at the heart of every relationship, but that doesn't mean you need to be available 24/7. One powerful boundary that earns instant respect is this: you set clear, healthy standards for how and when you communicate. Many men make the mistake of always replying instantly to messages, feeling pressure to be constantly on call, or letting long texting sessions replace real conversations. While this might feel polite or romantic at first, it can quickly create imbalance. If your time doesn't seem valuable to you, it won't feel valuable to her either. High-value men protect their time. They don't disappear, but they're not glued to their phones either. They return calls and messages when it fits into their life, not out of fear of losing someone's interest. By setting this boundary, you show confidence, self-control, and maturity. You demonstrate that your world is full with goals, responsibilities, and purpose, and that a relationship is part of your life, not the center of it. It's also important to expect clear, respectful communication in return. If someone constantly sends mixed signals, plays guessing games, or avoids meaningful dialogue, it's okay to step back. Your peace of mind matters. Remember, you train people how to treat you. And when it comes to communication, clarity and consistency always beat chaos and confusion. Speak with intention, listen with focus, and don't be afraid to unplug when needed. 11. Walk away when needed. One of the strongest boundaries a man can ever set is the ability to walk away when something no longer serves his peace, values, or growth. This isn't about being cold or distant, it's about self-respect. When a situation becomes toxic, one-sided, or emotionally draining, staying silent or staying too long can destroy your confidence and dignity. Walking away sends a powerful message. I value myself enough not to stay where I'm not respected. It tells others that your presence is earned, not guaranteed. And that boundary alone can shift how people treat you. It doesn't have to be dramatic. You don't need to argue, beg, or prove anything. You simply recognize when your standards are not being met, and you take calm, confident action. The strength is in your silence and self-control, not in trying to convince someone to value you. Ironically, the moment you're willing to walk away is often the moment others begin to truly take you seriously, because most people expect you to stay no matter what. When you don't, it changes everything. This doesn't mean walking away from every disagreement. It means walking away from repeated patterns of disrespect, dishonesty, or emotional neglect. A man who can walk away is a man who knows his worth. And when you carry that kind of strength, people, especially women, can't help but respect you. 12. Keep your financial boundaries. Money can be a sensitive subject in relationships, but it reveals a lot about a person's values. That's why confident men set clear financial boundaries, not to be controlling, but to stay in alignment with their self-respect and long-term goals. Many men feel pressured to spend more than they're comfortable with in order to impress someone, especially in the early stages of dating. Expensive gifts, constant dinners out, or always picking up the bill while generous can quickly become unsustainable. Even worse, it can set a pattern where your financial support is expected instead of appreciated. A high-value man is generous, but not reckless. He gives from a place of abundance, not obligation. He knows that his money, like his time and energy, is a limited resource that must be handled with care. Setting financial boundaries also means being open about your priorities. You have goals, maybe saving, investing, or building something meaningful. Anyone who truly respects you will understand that. It's okay to say, "That's not in my budget right now," or "I'd rather keep things simple." If someone loses interest because you're not constantly spending, That's not a loss, it's clarity. Remember, you are not a provider of perks, you're a man with a vision. And the right woman will be drawn to your strength, not your wallet. 13. Limit your emotional vulnerability early on. Emotional vulnerability is important, but timing matters. Opening up too much, too soon can create imbalance. A confident man knows how to express emotion, but he doesn't share everything right away. He understands that trust must be built before deep emotions are revealed. In the early stages of any connection, both people are still learning about each other. Oversharing your past struggles, fears, or emotional pain too quickly can make you seem unstable or create pressure the other person didn't ask for. It may also cause them to see you as dependent rather than grounded. This doesn't mean you have to hide who you are or act emotionally distant. It simply means being intentional. Share small parts of your story gradually as trust develops. Let the relationship grow at a healthy pace where both sides feel secure and emotionally safe. Women respect men who are emotionally aware, but they're most drawn to those who balance emotion with strength. A man who can feel but still stay centered earns trust and admiration. Think of your emotions like a vault. You can open it, but not to just anyone, and not immediately. Let time, trust, and consistency guide that process. Emotional strength isn't about hiding, it's about managing wisely. When you set this boundary, you protect yourself while allowing something real to grow. 14. Don't let her guilt trip you. Guilt is a subtle but powerful form of control. When someone uses guilt to influence your actions by making you feel bad for setting a boundary, choosing yourself, or simply saying no, it slowly chips away at your confidence. That's why one of the strongest boundaries you can set is this: refuse to be manipulated by guilt. In relationships, guilt tripping can look like, if you really cared, you would. I guess I'm not that important to you. Silent treatment after you make a choice for yourself. These are emotional tactics designed to make you question your worth or decision. And if you give in, even once, you teach the other person that guilt is an effective way to get their way. A grounded man recognizes this behavior and doesn't react emotionally. He stays calm, reaffirms his decision, and holds his boundary with quiet strength. This doesn't mean being cold or unkind, it means not abandoning your values just to keep the peace. If someone truly respects you, they won't try to control you through guilt. They'll communicate openly and accept your no with maturity. And if they don't, that's a red flag, not a reason to give in. Remember, respect is earned when you stay true to yourself, not when you surrender to pressure. Stay kind, stay firm, and never trade your peace for approval. 15. Avoid being a fixer. Many men fall into the trap of becoming a fixer in relationships. They see someone struggling and instantly feel the need to step in, offering advice, solutions, even trying to change their partner's mindset or emotions. While the intention may be good, this behavior often leads to emotional imbalance and unspoken pressure. You are not responsible for fixing someone else's past, mood, or emotional wounds. When you constantly try to solve her problems, you unintentionally send a message: you can't handle this without me. Over time, this creates dependency or worse, resentment. Healthy relationships are built between two whole individuals, not one person doing all the emotional heavy lifting. A high-value man supports, encourages, and listens, but he doesn't take over. He knows the difference between being supportive and being consumed. It's okay to be there for someone. It's okay to care, but set the boundary. You are not her therapist, savior, or emotional shield. Let her face her own growth journey, just like you face yours. Women respect men who stand beside them, not above them. When you allow her to solve her own challenges, you show trust in her strength and reinforce your own. Remember, love doesn't mean fixing, it means respecting the process. And the more you protect your emotional balance, the more stable and attractive you become. 16. Don't tolerate ultimatums. Ultimatums are not about communication, they're about control. When someone says, do this or else, they're not trying to work with you, they're trying to force you. A man who values himself sets a clear boundary. He doesn't respond to pressure disguised as love. Healthy relationships are built on choice, not threats. Whether the ultimatum is subtle or direct, if you don't change, I'm leaving, or if you really cared, you'd do this. It creates fear instead of trust. It pushes you to act out of anxiety rather than alignment. A strong man doesn't argue with ultimatums. He doesn't beg, plead, or rush to prove anything. He calmly makes it clear, I don't respond to threats. If something needs to be discussed, let's talk, not demand. This boundary shows emotional intelligence. It says you're open to growth and compromise, but only through mutual respect. And when you stand firm, people begin to realize they can't manipulate you with pressure or fear. Women respect men who can walk away from unhealthy communication patterns, not because they want to lose you, but because they know you won't lose yourself. Just to keep someone else happy, remember, you teach others how to treat you. When you shut down ultimatums, you open the door to real conversations, and you protect your power in the process. 17. Maintain your own social life. Subtle but dangerous mistake many men make in relationships is abandoning their social life. They stop seeing friends, skip hobbies, and start revolving their schedule entirely around one person. While this may seem like devotion, it can actually lead to imbalance and eventually loss of respect. When you give up your social circle, you lose an essential part of your identity. You become overly dependent on the relationship for emotional support, fun, and even validation. And over time, that makes you appear less grounded, less independent, and less attractive. A confident man keeps his connections alive. He nurtures friendships, spends time with his tribe, and continues to live a life outside of the relationship. Not only does this keep him emotionally balanced, but it also shows he's complete on his own. Women respect men who have a full life. When she sees that you're valued by others, that you have healthy friendships and social confidence, she feels more drawn to you, not less. Also, maintaining your social life creates healthy space. It gives both people room to breathe, reflect, and grow as individuals, not just as a couple. Your life doesn't stop because you're in a relationship, and the right woman won't want you to give up your world, she'll want to be part of it. 18. Respect yourself first before you can earn respect from anyone else, especially in a relationship. You must first respect yourself. This is one of the deepest boundaries you'll ever set. Why? Because the way you treat yourself teaches others how to treat you. Self-respect isn't about pride or ego, it's about standards. It means you don't tolerate behavior that goes against your values. It means you don't settle for being treated poorly just to avoid being alone. It means you recognize your own worth and refuse to compromise it for temporary comfort. When you respect yourself, you speak up when something feels wrong. You walk away from what drains you. You take care of your mind, body, and goals. You don't need constant approval because your confidence comes from within. This boundary is powerful because it shapes everything. If you accept disrespect, people will give it. If you allow inconsistency, people will offer it. But when you show up with quiet strength, clear limits, and a calm presence, others rise to meet you where they exit your life, and that's okay to. Women naturally respect men who hold themselves to high standards, not just in how they talk, but in how they live. Because self-respect is magnetic. It shows you don't need validation, you choose connection. Respect yourself first and everything else will follow. 19. Stay calm during conflict. Conflict is a natural part of any relationship, but how you handle it defines whether you gain or lose respect. One of the most powerful boundaries a man can set is this: he stays calm. No matter how heated the situation gets, when emotions run high. It's easy to react, raising your voice, getting defensive, or saying things you regret. But emotional outbursts weaken your presence. They show that you're being controlled by the moment, not by your mindset. A strong man stays grounded. He listens without interrupting, responds instead of reacting, and takes space if needed. This calm energy shows maturity and emotional intelligence. It says, "I can handle pressure without losing control." Women notice this. They respect men who can stay level-headed even when things get tense. It creates a sense of safety and stability. It tells her that you're not someone who breaks under stress, but someone who can lead through it. This doesn't mean avoiding conflict or suppressing your feelings. It means choosing your response carefully and never letting anger take the driver's seat. You can be firm without being aggressive. You can express your thoughts without disrespect. Remember, power isn't loud, it's calm, focused, and in control. The man who can hold steady in storms earns deep respect, not just from women, but from everyone around him. 20. Be clear about your standards. If you don't know what you stand for, others will decide for you. That's why one of the most powerful boundaries a man can set is this: be crystal clear about your standards, from how you expect to be treated to what kind of behavior you won't accept. Clarity is everything. A man with standards doesn't just go with the flow to avoid discomfort. He calmly expresses what's important to him. Whether it's honesty, consistency, respect, or loyalty, he communicates these expectations early, not after they've been violated. This isn't about controlling anyone else, it's about protecting your space, energy, and peace. When you know your standards and live by them, you become deeply rooted. You no longer get pulled into toxic patterns, confusing situations, or emotional drama. You know what fits into your life and what doesn't. Women respect men who are clear. It removes guessing, eliminates mixed signals, and builds trust. When she knows where you stand, she can decide if she wants to rise to that level or walk away. Either way, your direction remains steady. Setting standards also means living by them. It's not just what you say, it's what you show through your actions, choices, and boundaries. When your words and behavior match, you become a man of integrity. Speak your truth, live your standards, and never shrink to fit someone else's comfort. Because clarity isn't just strength, it's self-respect.